This is a question every NBA fan is asking right now. Can a 41-year-old LeBron James carry the Los Angeles Lakers past the Houston Rockets in the 2026 playoffs without Luka Doncic and without Austin Reaves? On paper, it sounds unrealistic. The odds reflect that. The Lakers opened as massive underdogs, their steepest first-round disadvantage in over a decade. History isn't on their side either. Every time they've faced odds like this since the late 1980s, they've lost. No exceptions. But history doesn't usually account for LeBron. This isn't just another aging superstar trying to squeeze out one more run. This is the league's all-time leading scorer, both in the regular season and the playoffs. A player who has made more postseason appearances than anyone in NBA history. A player who has built his legacy on defying probability. Still, this challenge is different. To understand why, you have to look at how quickly everything unraveled for the Lakers. For most of the season, they were building towards something real. Under head coach JJ Redick, the team spent months figuring out how to balance its three stars. It wasn't instant, but once it clicked, it looked dangerous. Doncic handled the bulk of the offensive load. Reaves became a secondary creator, thriving in a complementary role. And LeBron? He shifted into something almost unheard of at this stage of his career. The most effective third option in basketball. That version of the Lakers caught fire. In March, they went on a 15-2 run, playing their best basketball of the season just weeks before the playoffs. Then it all fell apart. On April 2nd, in a loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, both Doncic and Reaves went down with injuries. A hamstring for one, an oblique for the other. Just like that, the Lakers lost their two primary offensive engines. And everything changed overnight. Doncic wasn't just a scorer, he was the system. He led the league in usage rate, field goal attempts, three-point attempts, and free throw attempts. He dictated pace, created shots, and absorbed defensive pressure. Without him, the Lakers don't just lose production, they lose structure. So now, as the playoffs begin, LeBron is being asked to step back into a role he hasn't consistently played all season. The primary option, the closer, the engine that makes everything work. The question is whether he can still do it. Late in the regular season, we got a glimpse of the answer. In games without both Doncic and Reaves, LeBron averaged over 25 points on elite efficiency, shooting above 55% while playing under 30 minutes per game. In one of those games, he led a dominant win over the Phoenix Suns, controlling the pace from start to finish. At a team level, the numbers were just as encouraging. In LeBron's minutes without the injured stars, the Lakers outscored opponents by double digits per 100 possessions. That's not survival, that's dominance. And then there's the clutch factor. The Lakers were the best clutch time team in the NBA this season, posting an elite record in games decided within 5 points in the final minutes. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you have someone who understands exactly how to manage late-game situations. LeBron has built a career on that. Even at 41, he's still capable of taking over games. He's the only player in league history to record multiple 40-point performances in his 40s. Physically, he's not what he once was, but mentally and strategically, he might be sharper than ever. So the question isn't whether he can produce. The real question is whether his production alone is enough. Because on the other side of this matchup is a Houston Rockets team that's built to stop players like him. Houston enters the series healthy, deep, and structured. Their biggest move was acquiring Kevin Durant, instantly elevating them into contender status. Durant brings elite scoring and playoff experience, averaging over 25 points per game and giving the Rockets a go-to option in any situation. But this team isn't just about one star. Alperen Sengun anchors the interior with consistent scoring and playmaking from the post. Amen Thompson provides elite perimeter defense, capable of guarding multiple positions, including LeBron himself. Jabari Smith Jr. adds length and versatility, while Tari Eason brings energy, defense, and disruption off the bench. This is a team designed for playoff basketball. They can switch defensively, protect the rim, and throw multiple bodies at a single star. Against most teams, that's a luxury. Against LeBron, it's a necessity. And that's where the challenge becomes real. Because while LeBron can still control the game, the Rockets don't need to stop him completely. They just need to make everything harder. Force him into tougher shots. Limit his playmaking options. Wear him down over the course of a series. Without Doncic and Reaves, there's less margin for error. The Lakers don't have the same offensive diversity. They don't have the same secondary creation. Everything becomes more predictable, more reliant on LeBron making the right read every time down the floor. That's a heavy burden, even for someone like him. But if there's one player in NBA history you wouldn't bet against in this situation, it's LeBron James. Because he's been here before. Different circumstances, different teams, but the same question, is it possible? And more often than not, he's found a way to make the impossible feel inevitable. Now he has to do it again. The challenge for the Los Angeles Lakers doesn't stop with injuries. It gets even tougher when you look at what the Houston Rockets actually are. Houston finished the season as a top 10 defense, and it's not by accident. Their entire roster is built around length, versatility, and disruption, especially on the wings. That matters when you're facing a player like LeBron James, who thrives on reading defenses and manipulating space. The Rockets are designed to take that space away. They don't just defend well, they control how the game is played. Houston operates at a slower, more deliberate pace. They use their size and physicality to dictate tempo, forcing opponents into half-court battles and late-clock situations. That's the exact opposite of what the Lakers want. Los Angeles is at its best when the game opens up, when they can run, attack early, and create advantages in transition. Without Luka, Doncic orchestrating the offense, that becomes much harder to sustain. And then there's the rebounding gap, which might be the most underrated factor in this entire series. In their regular season matchups, Houston dominated the glass. They out-rebounded the Lakers by an average of 13 rebounds per game. Across those games, the Rockets grabbed 20 more offensive rebounds and turned that into a massive edge in second chance points, 61-27. That's not a small advantage. That's a structural problem, because when you're already missing firepower, giving up extra possessions is the last thing you can afford. The most telling example came on Christmas Day. With both teams fully healthy, Houston didn't just win. They controlled the game from start to finish, beating the Lakers 119-96. Their starting lineup, featuring Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, and Alperen Sengun, outscored the Lakers by 25 points in just 13 minutes together. That's dominance on both ends, and it highlights the core issue. This Rockets team isn't just talented, it's cohesive. Now, historically, the Lakers have had the upper hand in this matchup. In 9 all-time playoff series between these franchises, Los Angeles has won 6. The last time Houston eliminated the Lakers in the playoffs was back in 1996. But history doesn't win games, especially not when your roster is compromised. The last time LeBron James faced Houston in the playoffs was during the 2020 NBA playoffs inside the bubble. That series wasn't particularly close. After dropping Game 1, the Lakers took control and won 4 straight, eventually winning the series 4-1. From a certain point in Game 3 onward, they didn't trail again for over 100 minutes of game time. LeBron was in full command, closing out the series and ultimately leading the Lakers to a championship, earning his 4th Finals MVP in the process. But that version of the Lakers had Anthony Davis, a fully healthy roster, and far more balance on both ends. This version doesn't, and that's what makes this series fundamentally different. Because now, instead of facing a team built around James Harden and Russell Westbrook, LeBron is staring at a roster led by Kevin Durant, arguably the most complete scorer of his generation, surrounded by depth, defense, and structure. This also sets the stage for something bigger. This will be the 4th playoff meeting between LeBron James and Kevin Durant. Their previous 3 clashes all came in the NBA Finals, some of the most defining moments of the past decade. Now, potentially for the last time, they meet again, but instead of the finals, it's happening in the first round. There's something almost poetic about that. 2 legends deep into their careers, Durant in year 18, LeBron in year 23, still carrying the weight of their teams, still defining matchups, still commanding attention. The difference is context. Durant enters this series with a fully built, healthy roster around him. LeBron enters it carrying the burden. If the Lakers are going to pull off this upset, it won't just require greatness, it will require something close to historic. And realistically, the odds say it won't happen. Houston is a heavy favorite. They're deeper, they're healthier, they rebound better, they defend at an elite level, and they have a superstar of their own in Durant. Everything points in one direction. But LeBron James has spent his entire career breaking the direction things are supposed to go. He holds the record for most playoff series wins in NBA history. He's been to 19 postseasons. He's the all-time leader in playoff scoring. And in 2016, during the 2016 NBA Finals, he did something no player had ever done, leading a series in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks simultaneously. That's not normal production. That's control over every aspect of the game. Even now, late in his career, the signs are still there. The efficiency, the late-game execution, the ability to take over when needed. The numbers from the end of the regular season prove he can still carry stretches of basketball at an elite level. The clutch stats show the Lakers know how to win tight games. And there's one more variable that can't be ignored. Health isn't static. If Luka Doncic or Austin Reaves return at any point in the series, even at less than full strength, everything changes. The spacing improves. The pressure shifts. The offense regains structure. That's the thin line this series sits on. So can a 41-year-old LeBron James carry the Lakers past the Rockets without his two best offensive teammates? On paper, no. But LeBron James has never been fully explained by what's on paper. And that's why when the playoffs begin, this series won't just be about matchups or metrics. It'll be about whether one of the greatest players in the history of the sport can do it one more time.